On this special bonus episode of the Neutral Wisdom Podcast, meet me, Jack Hades. Find out a little more about me as we head into Season 2. You are listening to the Neutral Wisdom Podcast, a podcast dedicated to passing on knowledge and experience from a satanic perspective, hosted by Satanic Warlock Robert Shirley.
Greetings and welcome to this special bonus edition of the Neutral Wisdom Podcast. We're taking a bit of a break between seasons 1 and 2, but I wanted to make sure you kept up with me even though I'm away. I have a very special guest on the podcast today. You might have heard him sneaking in from time to time with commercials for the Neutral Wisdom shop. I'm proud to announce that he will become part of the Neutral Wisdom team. Please welcome the host with the most. We tried for the best, but settled for the rest. He who puts the fun and dysfunctional, Mr. Jack Hades. Jack, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you on the show, or as great as it gets in the underworld, I guess. How's life in the fiery pits treating you?
Oh, peachy. If peaches were made of molten lava and eternal suffering, the flames are always too hot, and the company is unbearable. I had to sit next to Ms. Wiz at the last production meeting. You can imagine the conversation was quite painful.
Oh, I don't need to imagine. So, for the benefit of our listeners, who is Jack Hades? What's your background? Where do you hail from? Neat things like that.
Well, I was born in the depths of Hell's Entertainment District, an area notorious for its lackluster acts and apocalyptic reviews. Growing up, I always thought I was a funny kid. In school, while the other kids were into subjects like advanced torment techniques and how to make souls scream in 8 different languages, I was sharpening my rapier like wit. You want to hear some jokes?
Well, not really, no.
Ever notice how the rivers of lava in hell are like our dating lives? Too hot to handle and full of burning regrets. Why don't demons play cards in hell? Because the devil is always standing behind you, watching your every move. Plus, his poker face, utterly terrifying. So, I asked my boss for a raise and he said, sure, just take a trip to the 9th circle. Yeah, that's not a raise, that's a demotion. Wow, tough room. Is this thing on? Anyway, I worked the infernal stand-up circuit for a few millennia and then was asked to host Hell's very own version of Comedy Central called Infernal Giggles. My show was a hit. Even the big man himself was a fan, or so I heard. But eventually, as always happens, that show was canceled. I couldn't get back into the comedy scene on account of I was too big, but I didn't get any other offers. Times got so tight that I took a janitor's job at the studio to make ends meet. Then you came along. I thought my eternal torture was over, but, well, here we are.
Sounds like a real blast. So, Jack, I'm surprised that you agreed to join the Neutral Wisdom podcast in a more active role since you're known for being particularly, well, rude. What's the secret to your charm?
Secret? There's no secret. I just tell it like it is. Why pretend to be nice when you can be brutally honest and make everyone's day a little bit worse?
Ah, I see. The direct approach. What's the rudest thing you've ever done?
Oh, that's easy. I once sent a message to Beelzebub saying, I hope your eternal torment is as enjoyable as your company. To top it off, I used glitter. Glitter in hell is like a personal affront. It never comes off.
Glitter? That's a new level of annoyance. And how did he react?
He was furious. It's hard to focus on your misery when you're covered in sparkles. It's like being caught in an eternal rave.
Brilliant. And do you have any tips for those looking to master the art of being rudely charming?
Absolutely. Always speak your mind. Never sugarcoat anything. And remember, a little sarcasm goes a long way. Also, practice makes perfect. Spend some time listening to the whining souls around you. It'll give you plenty of material.
Now, that's some solid advice. Now, I've heard you also have a bit of a reputation for having an incredibly bad temper. What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever lost your cool over?
Oh, that's easy. Someone swapped my Doomsday Doom cocktail with plain old water. I was halfway through my speech on the art of eternal suffering when I realized I was about to deliver a tirade of dissatisfaction with a glass of H2O. The indignity
I can see how that would be infuriating. So, do you have any plans for the future, or is it all just more of the same for you?
More the same. Gonna keep working here, I guess. I don't do plans. I do chaos, irritation, and general disdain. It's a full-time job, really. Although I am thinking of starting a new hobby on the side, perhaps tormenting souls with endless knock-knock jokes.
Knock knock jokes. Well, that's a new one.
Oh, yes. Knock, knock. Who's there? Your worst nightmare. It's both infuriating and completely pointless. Perfect for my style.
Well, there you have it, listeners. Your introduction to the incomparable Mr. Jack Hades. Jack will be taking over the intros and outros for the show, as well as continuing on with our commercials. I gotta say, it's a real pleasure to have Jack on the team.
Yeah, whatever.
And I think that'll wrap it up for this bonus edition of the NutriWisdom podcast. Thanks to all of you for listening, and please stay tuned for season 2. As always, you can contact me directly at information@nutrawisdom.ca. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the usual places. Please visit us at www.nutrawisdom.ca and say hi to Jack while you're there. Until next time, ever forward.
You have been listening to the Neutral Wisdom Podcast. For more information, email us at information@neutralwisdom.ca, Facebook under Robert Shirley, or Instagram at neutral_wisdom. Also, check out our website at neutralwisdom.ca. Program copyrighted 2024. Devilish Gentleman Enterprises.